Welcome, guys, to another episode of Reach Your Peak podcast with your host, Bobby Enright. On today's show, we're going to discuss achieving your goals and what process you need to start to implement in terms of success. So when it comes to goal setting, guys, a lot of people are great at setting goals. So we all are able to set our goals. We kind of have an idea. The goal setting process is like you set your goal. Okay, I want to lose weight, and it's going to take X amount of weeks to do, or you don't even know how long it's going to take. So you have a basic understanding of what you want, and you set that goal. But the one thing you never kind of think about is what's the process to achieving that goal and what you need to start thinking about it, because about 95% of people fall short of achieving their goals, and the reason they do is it's because they fall short in terms of the process between setting the goal and achieving the goal. That in between area is where most people will really struggle. And the thing about falling short is the only way you're going to fail your goal is if you quit. So you have to think about that. Is if you've got a goal set, the only way you're solely going to fail that goal is if you actually quit on that goal. That's really, really important. And some goals that people set, the reality of them, they're a lot harder than they first perceived. So they're going to hit a roadblock. They're going to say, oh my God, I didn't realize that this was going to be so difficult. I thought maybe, for instance, if we said losing weight is just a case of eating a little bit less and moving a little bit more. It's not as simple as that, because there's so much going on body-wise, physiologically, biologically. And again, everybody is different, and not one size fits all when it comes to weight loss. So the one thing about another thing that happens people as well is, yes, the difficulty of the goal is probably one of their huge setbacks, but also the timeline that they thought it would take. So the perceived time that they thought it would take to get to a certain weight, to get to a certain body composition, whatever it may be, they're really struggling now with the whole thought process of, oh my God, this is going to take way longer than what I perceived. So again, they stop, they fail, and they say, okay, I'm just going to quit. And that's the problem, guys, because when you set out on your goal to achieve something, you have no idea how long it's going to take. You can give a kind of a perceived number, but you've no idea how long it's going to take, because you have to go and experience the process. And that process can take a lot longer than you actually perceive at the very, very start. And again, setting timelines on something, it should be in your own head just a rough guesstimate of how long it's going to take. Because timeline is a very vital component, but the whole idea is to keep focused on what you have to do on a daily basis is more and more important. So yes, we need to know a clear understanding of what we want to achieve. We need to have a kind of a rough approximation of when we could potentially get to that point. And that's the way I would say to you, when you're setting your goals, don't put yourself right down into an exact number, because it's going to be something that you'll focus on solely, and it could be something to your detriment. So the really important thing is, always when you set your goal, allowing yourself some grace within your timeline. So if you say, look, I want to be able to achieve this by this month, allow a little bit of a grace for a couple of weeks, because potentially things getting in your way, and that is the problem with goal setting. You start the process of going about your goal. So you say, okay, I need to do this, and then the problem is we start to run into roadblocks. It's particularly harder than what we thought. The time it's taking a lot longer than we thought, and our potential to quit is raised higher and higher and higher. And the only way, like I said at the very start, guys, you're not going to achieve your goal is if you quit. And that's one thing you don't want to do. And use the analogy, winners don't quit and quitters don't win. That's really, really important. So it's important for yourself that you think about this truly at the very, very start. And I would always say, have a clarity on what your goal needs to be. Be clear on what it needs to be. It's really, really important. So you have a clear clarity, okay, what the timeline is roughly going to be. I'm going to give myself a bit of grace. I'm also going to understand that this goal could be potentially harder than what I perceive, and I need to be able to handle that when that happens. And I need to think to myself, the only way I'm not going to achieve something is if I actually quit. So I'm going to be persistent. I'm going to be constant in what I do. I'm going to show up every day, and I'm going to be compliant to what I need to do and the boxes that need to be ticked to ensure success. And that's really important, guys. But when it comes down to actually achieving the goal, there's kind of 5 areas that I would say are something you could really start to look at and really start to think about when you're goal setting. And when you start to look at these areas, it kind of gives you a better picture of what to expect ahead of you and how to implement exactly what you need to do. So the very first one is a purpose. There has to be a purpose within the goal you're trying to achieve. So that comes simply down to you have to know your why. Because if you truly know your why on that goal you have set, when it gets particularly hard, then you are going to stay on track because you know your why. Okay, so that's key thing, guys. Let's go back over that purpose. What is the purpose of what you're trying to do? If it's losing weight, if it's changing your lifestyle, if it's making more money within your business or your job, if it's moving up in the ladder in your career, if it's getting fitter, if it's wanting to have a better body, if it's about putting on more muscle, if you want to be more toned, whatever your goal is, once you know why you truly, truly want to do it, that's going to take you a massive it's going to take you a massive jump forward, especially when times get tough, because you'll go back to that why and you'll say to yourself, when my goal gets tough, you'll ask yourself, why am I doing this? And you'll have a clear understanding why, because you'll have wrote this down. You'll write down purpose equals and write down why you're doing it. So a clear vision of why you're doing it. If somebody comes to me and wants to lose weight, I'll ask them why. Why do you want to lose weight? Oh, I just want to lose 2 stone. Why? You have to know your why. Okay, because it's going to make me feel better. I'm going to be fitter, and I'm just going to be a bit more confident about myself, and I'm going to look better when I go on summer holidays. That's your why. So you have to have a deeper meaning than just setting a goal. So purpose is the very first one, guys, is so, so important. And then we talk about habits. This is the next one that's going to be so, so important. People that succeed have habits of success. So that's what the reason people succeed, because they have habits based on success. So if I do these things, it's going to make me successful towards my goal. So the real thing to understand about habits is willpower is one thing, but willpower will only last so long. So you have to establish non-negotiable habits, things that you have to do every single day, and that are going to take you closer to the goal every day is key. So non-negotiable habits, guys, is one next thing I want you to write down. Number 1 is your purpose, what's your why. Number 2 is your habits, non-negotiable habits. What do I have to do every single day? Actions I have to take, habits I have to put in place that's going to be non-negotiable, that's going to take me towards my goal. So if you set a goal to say lose some weight, we'll say in 3 or 4 months, you follow a plan, and as soon as that gets difficult, if you haven't put in place solid foundational habits and knowing your why, that whole process is going to fall apart. Because if you don't have habits set in place and say you're following a plan to lose this weight over a period of time, you're only focused on the plan, as in you're following this plan. That's all you're focused on. You're not developing habits. You have to develop personal habits yourself. And that is really, really important, because if you're just following the plan, you're just like a deer in the headlights. This is all I can do to sell it. And when something goes wrong, what do? You don't have habits set or in place. So non-negotiable habits, guys, so important, because you have to intentionally start to create high impact habits, ones that are going to really take you forward and ones that you can sustain for the rest of your life. Then you're going to build that bulletproof body. Then you're going to lose that weight. Then you're going to keep that weight off. That's the key to success. Because remember, if somebody comes to me and they want to lose weight over a period of time, we want that person. As a coach, I want that person to be better in 3 or 4 years' time, in a way better position than they are now, not to be back where they were. Because the only reason people fall back into old habits is because they didn't develop the habits, the skill of building habits, and they didn't implement non-negotiable habits and started to bring in them behaviors to every day, start to really focus on them and to really start to achieve their goal. And then once they've achieved their goal, they're going to move way forward because they've built a solid foundation of non-negotiable habits that's going to take them to success. And that's really key. So high impact habits, guys, really important, that are going to have a huge impact on your goal. They're really going to chip away at your goal, building on them every single week. And what I would say to you to do is create one new habit per week that you can make non-negotiable. So that could be something simple as, if I need to lose weight, I'm going to hydrate my body first thing in the morning. Non-negotiable habit. I am going to walk 4,000 steps in the morning, 3,000 to 4,000 steps. When I get up, I'm just going to hydrate my body and walk. And if you have that as a non-negotiable habit, that is something you can take forward with you. It's going to start to really impact on your goal, because it's really going to help you. It could be something simply as adding more protein to each of your meals, and adding more vegetables and fruits to your meals. High impact habits that you, straight away when you start to put a meal together, that's the first thing you start thinking about. Okay, where's my protein? I have to get some veg in here, and I'm going to add some fruit into my day. Building that is really important. So we had purpose first. You have to know your why. Non-negotiable habits, building on that and working from there. And it's really important that you really think about that, guys, in terms of the non-negotiable habits are something that you're going to build that will sustain for the rest of your life. And then when we look at it as well, and we start to think, okay, what's next? Skills. We have to have skills. So if you want to achieve anything, there is going to be a certain skill element involved. And this is really important as well. So everyone's goal requires a skill. So whether it's to lose weight, get fitter, get stronger, whatever it may be, in your career to step up the ladder, it's going to require skill. You won't make more money without providing more value. So that's, if you've seen your career, that's you think of it that way. You think of the same with your fitness. If you want to make more money, you won't make more money without providing more value. You won't get fitter without providing some training. You're not going to lose weight without providing some habits based around your weight loss. So this is really important. If you go to the gym, guys, if you don't go to the gym and you want to build muscle, you aren't going to build muscle. You won't add muscle without improving the way you train and actually go to the gym. You won't lose fat without getting better at following a certain meal structure. It's just not going to happen, because what you've currently done, you have to build on that. So this is really important. So you determine, the most important thing is, when you're trying to achieve a goal, determine the skills that are required. And you want to actually then say, okay, this is the skill I need to learn. So if I want to lose weight, I need to learn the skill of putting meals together and stay within an energy balance. If I want to put on lean tissue in the gym and build some muscle, I need to learn the skill of lifting weights, the skill of contracting muscle, the skill of making sure that the working muscle is the one that's actually working the most. I need to really learn how to lift and build the skills of lifting weights to develop my body so I can put on more lean tissue. If I want to lose weight, like I said, you develop the skills of cooking, you develop the skills of putting foods together, you develop the skills of education through learning about types of food and what foods suit you and what foods are anti-inflammatory to you. And this is really important, guys, when it comes to building. Once you know the why and the goal, and then you've got the habits, you're trying to build the habits in place, obviously the skill has to come in with these habits too. Because if you're building habits of going to the gym every day, make sure the skill matches that. There's no point you going to the gym and not having the skill to lift weights. Then you're going into the gym and you're doing a bit of a session, but you're not getting the end result that you require because the skill level isn't there. So this is really important. This comes as well with, if you want to get just fitter to run a marathon or 5K, you need to learn the skill of running. You need to learn the skill of hydration, the skill of recovery nutrition, pre-race nutrition. You need to learn the skill of actually running, how to run properly and how to run, how's your cadence, how's this. So everything is a skill, and developing your skills matched towards your goals is really important. So we go back, we have our purpose, our why, we have our habits, our non-negotiables. We need to know our skills based around that goal. Again, these are all areas, guys, on how to achieve a goal. This is really important. This is not about setting a goal, this is about achieving a goal, and this is what we need to think about. And that brings us on to the next one, which is the process. You have to trust the process. So if you've got a coach and a coach sets out a process for you, okay, this is what you want, and this is the process how to get there. You have to trust that process. You're investing in somebody, so you need to make sure you're investing in the right person for you that fully understands your goal, that has the education and the professionalism and the backing to actually make you achieve it and is making the right decisions for you. But every goal has been achieved before you. So every goal, like weight loss, getting fitter, put on more muscle, people have achieved it. So how did they achieve it? So determine, even if you know somebody that lost weight, for instance, and they were very successful and they've kept it off, you could actually ask them what did their process look like. So you could get a little bit of a picture of, okay, that's the kind of process that worked for that person. Maybe I could implement a similar process and adjust it according to me. And that could work very, very well. Because if you can learn from mistakes, you're going to really move forward. That's the key thing, guys. If you've tried a process before to do something and you've fallen off track and what we perceive as failed, you quit, you just didn't stay with it. If that process just wasn't truly right for you, then you need to learn from that. So you need to learn, okay, what process actually works for you. It's like somebody comes to the gym and says, right, okay, I want to plant some muscle and I'm going to train 6 days a week. Is that sustainable long term? Can you recover from that kind of training? My previous coach said I could. Did it work? And they said, well, no, not really. Okay, that process didn't work. So let's look at a different process that suits you, your goals, suits your lifestyle, and is sustainable for you moving forward, and is appropriate to you and your recovery capacity. That's really important, because we can be busy fools at times doing a load of stuff that's not right for us, and then suddenly we fall off and we fail because we quit, because that wasn't right, that process wasn't right. So we need to understand the process. Because we can waste an awful lot of time doing the same thing over and over and over again. And we know the analogy of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So it's really important when moving towards your goal, that you really focus on a process that's going to take you there. If you think about how do I lose weight? You ask your coach. You know if how to change your current lifestyle. You just need to think about, okay, I need to eat better foods. Okay, there's a process there. So the process will be improve the blueprint of nutrition that's coming in. So better nutrient dense foods, whole foods, one ingredient foods. If it doesn't grow, don't eat it. That kind of analogy, that process of just thinking that way can really help your nutrition. And you're looking down at your plate every time you're eating a meal and just saying, okay, have I got a nice balance of my food here? Do I have my portions right? What process do I have to go through to get this portion control, food choices better? And there's going to be a process with that. If you find, guys, that motivation is a huge factor with you perceive that you need to always be motivated, the process you're going through to achieve your goals possibly isn't right for you, because you're looking for something. If the process is suited to you and you understand it and you have a clear vision of what you're doing, then you're way more motivated to do something. So think about that. If the process is something that you have to be motivated to do, the process could be totally wrong for you. So we have to keep the process simple at the start and then build on that. So the process from the very start on achieving your goal should be something that you just look at and you go, that's no problem. That sounds too easy. And that's what you want, because when you can do that, then we're going to start to build habits from that, the non-negotiable habits, because it's such an easy process. You're like, that's simple. That doesn't make sense. How is it so easy? And then we build on that. And that's really important. That's something that will keep you on track a lot longer as well, because if you start with the whole process and it's nice and simple, it just sounds too easy to you on paper, and you say, oh yeah, it's no problem, I can do that every single day, that's easy, should I be doing more? You're already motivated to do more. So no, let's start here and we'll build up as we go, because the more non-negotiable habits you build, the more skills you build, the more your drive is to get better and better and better, and then we can start to bump up the process a bit, step by step by step by step. And the next one, guys, is a huge one. It brings us to our fifth point in achieving a goal. discipline. At some point, you are going to rationalize why you ever started this. And especially when you start to slip off track, you're just going to start to have to rationalize, okay, why did I do this? This is really difficult. And you're starting to do your self-talk, and you're starting to talk yourself out of your goal because you just feel it's just too hard. You have to be 100% adherent to be successful. There is no other way around it. If you truly want something, 99% is not good enough, because there is a possibility there that you're not going to achieve something. So that 1% makes a difference. You have to be 100% all in to be successful. That's the key thing. You have to be there. Because if you go 99% into something, you open the door for not achieving it. You just start to think about your 99%, the door, or 100% the door is shut, it's locked. And suddenly you unlock the door and you open the door a little bit and you're looking out. That's 99%. That's giving you the opportunity of opting out. That's giving you the opportunity of not achieving your goal. So you need to have a clear understanding of discipline and say to yourself, okay, if I want to truly achieve something, I'm all in. I have my purpose. I have my non-negotiable habits. I'm building my skills. I have a process in place. And now I come to discipline. And that's one thing I can control, because you can be disciplined. And that's really important, guys, because if you leave that 1% off and leave yourself off a little bit, 1%, you are significantly going to make it harder to attain your goal. 100%. So it's 100% all in. And just tell your brain you're 100% committed. That's really, really important. People who don't do that start to open that door. And once you start to open that door, it's very, very hard. This all sounds really difficult, guys, but will make your goal achievement process much easier. If you are all in 100%, you're all in, and that's it. This is really, really important. And again, another thing that we could add, but again, these 5 points are kind of where we are, but accountability can be something that can be very powerful as well, because if we've got the why in place, the purpose, if we've got the habits in place, the non-negotiables, if we've got the skill in place and we're building on that, if we've got that process in place and we've got that discipline in place, being accountable to somebody, something, can be a huge advantage as well. This is really, really important, because even if it's a family, friend, a member of your family, a friend, or a coach, you've somebody to be accountable to. So you've all these processes in place, you've all these plans in place and all these strategies and kind of thought processes towards achieving the goal in place. It's great to have somebody to bounce off of, somebody that's going to just say certain stuff to you, that's going to make the changes when needed, that's going to see a small bit of dieting fatigue and going to say, do you know what, we're going to take a week's diet break, or we're going to do a little bit of a refeed, whatever it may be. That's where accountability and a coach can come in massively, guys. Now, that's not accessible to everybody, but it's just something, be accountable to somebody. So if you're trying to achieve something, you might ask a friend to come with you and try to achieve this goal. Maybe you've got a friend that wants to lose weight. Maybe you've got a friend that wants to compete on stage and they're going to prep with you. Or you're going to have somebody who wants to build a little bit more lean tissue or get stronger in the gym, and you've got a friend who might want to do that with you. You're accountable to each other then. And then you get that clear vision. You go through your 5 points, your purpose, your non-negotiable habits, your skills, skill building, your process of how to get there, and then your discipline. Being 100% committed. You say that to your friend, you say that to your coach. I'm 100% committed. There is no 99% here. I want this goal. I know my why. I'm going to build on my non-negotiable habits. I'm going to better my skills to get there, and I'm going to be I know the process, and you fully explained it to me as a coach, or you fully understand it, and then I'm going to be 100% disciplined on this whole thing. There is no room for 99%, because remember, that door, we're just opening that door for failure a little bit. So it's all in, guys. It's 100% to be successful and to achieve the goal that you've set out. And that's what this whole podcast is about. It's not about goal setting, it's about goal achievement. How do you actually achieve it? It's fine to say, I want this, but how do I actually achieve it? That's the key thing. Can you actually achieve what you're set out to do? And by following these steps, guys, you can really, really achieve anything you put your mind to. But you need to follow this 5-step process, and you need to, at the start of it, be accountable to something. If that's like, it's like going into the gym and having a workbook log. You're accountable to your workbook. You know what you did last week in the gym. You know the numbers you did. You know the reps you did. And can you actually improve on that? That's what you're accountable to. It's like somebody trying to get fitter. Don't just go out and run. Go out and measure. Go out and get data that you're accountable to. Distance, heart rate, time. You're accountable to that. So each time you're doing your runs, you're accountable to something, and there's something there that's going to challenge you, both mentally and physically. And again, if it's your career, be accountable to where you are now and what it's going to take to get to the next step in your career. What is that in between? How do I get up to there? Okay, what process do I have to go through? Okay, and be accountable to somebody within your business. Maybe tell your associate in your business and say, listen, I want to get to that next step of the ladder, and I'm going to achieve this in X amount of time, and I'm going to give myself that buffer as well. And then that person is going to help you along the way, because they're the ones going to be there to remind you, okay, you told me you were going to achieve this in X amount of time. Yeah, how's things going? So this is the thing. Somebody could be just there to give you a helping hand. Really important. If you're somebody that has to go out and do 12,000 steps a day, grab a friend to help you. Get somebody and help them along their journey, because you're on your journey. Bring them with you. You're accountable to each other. And say that at the start. Be very, very clear with the person. Say, listen, I want to really achieve this goal, and this is all the process I have to achieving this goal. And you tell them about the process, and then you get them involved and get them to buy in on the process and all these 5 steps to achievement. And then you'll have somebody accountable to. But a coach can do that for you as well. And a coach should be there for you every step of the way. They're not there to hold your hand, because you're the one that has to do it. You're the one that has to build that non-negotiable habits. You're the one that's going to have to build the skills. The coach will be there to show you the skills and help you develop the skills. The coach will be there to map out the process for you. And the coach will be there to not allow you to drop that 1%, to keep you at 100%, but you have to tell yourself you're 100% committed. And that's how you're going to achieve your goals, guys. And that's the difference between setting a goal and achieving a goal, and that's the process in between. So I hope that was helpful, guys. I hope it was something that a lot of people really struggle with. Everybody sets goals. That's why New Year's resolutions are an absolute waste of time, because everybody falls off them after a certain period of time, and the only reason they didn't achieve it is because they quit. So if we quit, we have no opportunity to achieve something. So we need to go through that. We need to understand, why do we actually not achieve it? Why do we quit? And then we change our thought process. We start to bring in the strategy of our 5 points, and then we can put that in play, and then be 100% in and be accountable. And I can guarantee you, by following this path, you will be successful. You will achieve the goal that you have set out to achieve. And that is probably the most powerful thing I can tell you today. Okay, guys, if you like what you hear, you'll find us on all our social media platforms. Again, on Instagram, peakperformance.academy. You'll get myself on Instagram, coach.bobbyenright. And again, guys, please subscribe, share, comment on all our social media platforms. You'll also find us on our YouTube channel, Peak Performance Academy, and you'll find this on Reach Your Peak podcast on our YouTube channel, Peak Performance Academy, and on Spotify and iTunes as well, guys. And again, any questions, comments, please comment on the podcast. Please ask questions, and I would be more than happy to answer them for you. And also, please, if you have any questions or anything you don't understand or anything you're struggling with on this whole process of, okay, I can set the goal, but I just can't achieve the goal, we absolutely reach out, guys, and I'd be more than happy to have a chat with you and help you in that process, because it's something that's not easy, but if you know the right tools to put in play, you can be 100% successful. Okay, guys, have a fantastic week, and thanks a million for listening to another episode of Reach Your Peak podcast. We'll catch you next week on next week's show. Have a fantastic week, guys, a very productive week, a very goal-driven week, and remember your structure between setting the goal and achieving the goal. Have a great week, guys.